Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to discuss how to progress with the warrior class or a melee sort of crutch, because the problem with melee is that it's melee and a lot of the actual ease that people are having come with the fact that they can do things at range, that the melee build has to be in someone's face for a lot of it, and some of the skills are very clunky to sort of get things. You either got to move forward in an animation, which then puts you in danger, or you got to actually be up close, hit them to actually do that damage, which then puts you in danger, or there's a certain range you got to be and it's not far enough away to be safe, and you're almost close enough that you may as well hit things anyway. Now, you will start with Earthquake, Bone Shatter, and Rolling Slam. I suggest you get all three. The Earthquake will be your leading up to them sort of attack. Your AoE, you're basing everything AoE there. Your Bone Shatter is purely just stun, which obviously helps with the warrior. And your Leap Slam will be your sort of extra attack. Use your basic mace attack as your primary attack still. Then Earthquake, you want to put things on like Fist of War. Bone Shatter, you can put some, as you get later into the game, some armor breaking stuff, so when you stun it breaks armor. And then you can also put on, when you're later down the line, around 20-25, you should get the ability to get Perfect Strike. You can then put on a damage modifier for broken armor. It consumes the armor to do extra damage. Now, you would think being melee, doing defense would be helpful early on. It's not. Don't. I did it on my first character, I did it on this character. Going deep, I didn't do it on this character as much. The first character I went all defense because it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's a new game, so I went defense because obviously can't be bad, surely. It was. If you go just flat out offense and don't go defense pretty much at all, except for you're getting obviously your defense off your gear. Now if we look at the passive tree, I'll show you what I mean. So this has the 50% buff. It's slightly less, it's 20. So it's 20 armor, 20 armor. Then we start getting the recovery. Don't do that. Just go flat out damage. Come down here, get more damage and stun build up. Stun build up early, and clearing is important because we're going to Leap Slam once we're you get it quite late actually compared to everything else. So once you get Leap Slam, you want to jump before the enemy. Leap Slam does randomly send you towards an enemy, so be aware that it is sort of deliberately bad because it seems to be intention, but it's random, so maybe it's not, maybe it's a bug. But you Leap Slam just before a pack, and then that stuns them, and then you hit them with Bone Shatter, and then Impact Shockwave support on that increases the damage done around, and then you clear. And on the bosses you get Perfect Strike, which is one important thing while we're on the tree, is you don't necessarily have to get this node, but get your fire damage. We got it down here. Your ailment magnitude, you want to just target that straight up. Obviously I haven't got that one yet. I probably missed it. I probably went, oh yeah, this point, and then got distracted by something. But attributes are going to be an issue. The amount of dex required by the end of Act 3, you want to probably have around 25-30, and in leading up to about the same. If you can get 30 and 30 dex and then have the rest strength, you'll be fine. Because some of the supports you're going to need are either blue, which is int, or green, which is dex. So you're going to require some of that. Important nodes for if you're going to come down here and get Giant's Blood, which I don't recommend until you get this second node, because you need the extra buff. The beef gives you 25. That isn't boosted, that's not boosted by the actual tree. 12 strength, it's 8 by default, so you would take all 4 of these if you're going Giant's Blood. And then also you got all these nodes running down to it. Obviously you make sure it's strength where possible, and you can generally get around that 250, 300 depending on your gear of strength, and then you can take Giant's Blood. But then on taking that, you then need to take a lot of block chance nodes, which helps with physical damage prevented recoups as life. So if we're getting hit, then our armor kicks in. You should generally have around 60% armor. Pretty much like as soon as you get all the armor pieces on your body, you should be going towards 60% armor easy, without much effort on boosting it on the tree or anything. And then the block chance with the shield and everything, if you get this block chance and come down here and get this block chance, you should be able to get around 60% block, 60-65 depending on your shield. And then obviously the ailment stuff, so you're blocking, you're recouping 15% of damage as life, so it's a bit of a defensive barrier, but you're blocking 6% of the time. Your armor mitigation is stopping some of the more physical stuff. The resistances, if you're not a player like me, who I don't get things to drop when I want, how I want, with Giga stats, we have to come up with different ways to get around things. So I have cold res in all 3 of this because I was not picking up cold res rings. I picked up my first one in Act 4 as the first time I saw a cold res ring. Now the Regals, they're going to start dropping more once the later patch comes out that changes all that. But if you're like me and you're not picking up a Regal orb per area like some of the people, you're pretty much just running what you can. But do not compromise. If this was, say, Thorns with a stun threshold or something, unless you really need that lightning res ring, then don't use it. Excuse me. Or whatever res it is. But take life, take stats, take something helpful. Like this ring, it's got X strength for life regen per second. Some rarity is not bad actually, because that helps with all the getting better gear. And then I'll be getting rid of these as soon as I can. The armor is actually quite important. This belt gives me 2% overall armor, so it's just this as is a fairly nice defensive boost for something that ain't all that. 15% movement speed is helpful, especially with a slow character where you're just leap slamming, and then every now and then you're running between. The increased armor and life is obviously very nice. Stun threshold, I'd rather something else. Obviously, stun threshold's not terrible because if we need to block, it gives us a better chance to survive longer. The amulet is pretty much just for the resistances, as well as a bit of strength, which gives us 2 health per strength. And our mana, where you can run into issues with mana once you start filling out some of the parts of the tree, like here. 10% reduced mana for the damage. You can run into trouble if you're running your skills a little bit too much and you're not doing enough damage, so I'd be careful on actually assigning skills that reduce your mana. Helmet, you just want to go straight out as best armor as you can. Try to get some reses on it if you can do. And then obviously this is a huge defensive portion as well as the body armor. Spirit on your body armor is very nice. It allows you to do more things. But yeah, resistance, movement speed. This, try to get some life resistance, and then your belt, some resistances, attributes, anything like that. The amulet, whatever you need. I'd use that as like a utility slot. The charms, it depends on what's dropping. I've got the 3 elemental things to drop and a stunning one, and that's it. I haven't got any OP charms to drop. So after the initial Earthquake, Bone Shatter, Rolling Slam, Infernal Cry to do more fire damage, because most of this is fire, so that's why we're doing fire. Some of it's bleed. You can go into the bleed nodes. It does help. So Leap Slam is at level 7 gem. Perfect Strike is your bosser. If we go to Perfect Strike, it converts the damage for a big hit, always ignites. That's why we want to increase the ignite magnitude. The either shield charge, because it's an early skill, or the stampede for your alternate movement skill. Shockwave Totem you can use. It is rather early game because it does die a lot. Like, it does not take much damage to actually go bye-bye. I wouldn't use Earth Shatter, but Sunder is a good distance maker-upper. You can actually... I beat the Quest Ultimatum boss by standing on a ledge, because recovery is fairly terrible on a warrior. And a lot of the bosses do not have a add phase where you get to build up your flush again, so that's where you get in trouble if you don't do enough damage quick enough. It's better to do the damage quick than it is to be able to tank, because eventually you'll run out of life plus. So Sunder, it goes a decent distance, and you can do it down levels, up levels. And I was just trying to smack him from down below up, and it's slightly delayed so that they go, oh, I see you, walk forward and get hit by it. So it is quite a nice thing. But our primary skill is actually our Mace Strike. And then our Perfect Strike is our bosser, as I said, and Bone Shatter is important for clearing. And Herald wise, I have Herald of Ash with Vitality. The Vitality I add later because obviously I needed the Spirit and didn't get the body armor I have until late. That increases our recovery to 1% of life per second, which no one can complain about 1% of life per second recovery just as a passive. That we don't have to think about. That's just on our recovery. So as far as play style, where am I? This is in Act 4. I'll just go here. should be roughly around the same level. 49 to 47. Slightly over, but we'll try to find something. Movement speed's good for this because obviously we're running. So, and then smack. So if we just allow ourselves to get hit, and you can see that vitality as well as anything else allows us to be able to just recover if need be. I'll try to find another pack. Let's do more damage to us. But as you can see, we are not doing anything. We're not recovering anything other than our just passive tree and vitality. And then this is the perfect strike. And then gone. That's set up for a stun, your bone shatter, and the area of effect. So as you can see, it is a bit of a odd playstyle, pretty much a mandatory playstyle, and yeah, I don't necessarily like those guys. As you can see, just single target clearing isn't that powerful unless, excuse me, thank you, unless we then clear like that, and then 1-2 hits, stun. If need be, like 2 hits will stun an enemy. Jump in, the aftershock got the stun. We're being burnt, but our recovery's getting up there. Bone Shatter does target an enemy you didn't actually look at sometimes. So if you suddenly like turn around and attack something you weren't trying to attack, it's not you, it's the fact that Bone Shatter does that. So we'll try to find another pack. So jump in here, slam, and take out. That is pretty much what we're going to do for the entirety of your playing. That's how you're going to play. Jump, smash. Jump, smash. So if you don't like that playstyle, then you probably shouldn't pick Warrior. Hopefully that gets you through the acts. Once you're past act 1.5, you'll have access to Hammer of the Gods skill. Put that on instead of Sunder, and that, or you can do another as an extra one, but put it on instead of Sunder, and then that is your rare tanky mob. You can't stun them, or boss, you've got them, drop the hammer on them, cause the massive ignite. The physical damage takes a bit of life, and then the ignite takes over. So, and then you pretty much run that until you finish playing Warrior. Pretty much, that's what you're going to do. Leap, slam, stun, drop Hammer of Gods on a tanky mob or a boss. That is pretty much the entire character until the end of time. But let me know what you think, how you're playing it. Maybe you're playing it slightly different, but let me know, and hopefully this helps you get past that early sort of hard part of what do I do, what do I use, how do I go about it, because once you get to Act 4 and onwards, you find it a lot easier once you got the skills, once you got the passives and all that. And then it's obviously, if you stand still and get distracted, obviously you'll die like I did. But let me know what you think. Hit all those buttons, and goodbye.